I'm going to record. So welcome everybody to our April is ASC month. Today is Tuesday, April 20th, and it will be our final Cisco only specific day that we're going to have in our four meetings this month. Really appreciate you being here. We've got a pretty good agenda, well, real good agenda, and we've got first off, we're going to have Marie Zickler, who is a CSR manager for the Northeast, is going to give us an update on her territories and those items going around there. Then we'll have about a 30-minute, and if we need more, we can do more, but 30-minute or so QA and roundtable, where what I'm going to ask you to do is to put your questions first into chat or say, I have a question, and then I will call on you and you can then ask your question. So we will do it that way so that there's not total pandemonium. But I'll reiterate that when we get back or get to that section. And then I'm going to go over the Cisco Modeling Labs, talk about it a little bit, talk about a special project we've been part of and working on, and give you some ideas of how this tool might be used, and honestly how I think it's the future of what we're going to be doing in a lot of ways. And then we'll have last 15 minutes for Q&A. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over here in just a second to Marie, but I am going to turn off my video so that it's not taking up part of the screen. So I'm going to stop my video. So if anybody other than Marie has their video on, if you would turn it off, but Marie, feel free to turn yours on if you want to. Brandon, if you'll turn yours off. Okay. And I'm going to stop sharing Marie, and now you can share your screen. And without further ado, Marie, we'll turn it over to you and let you get started.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. But it looks like I am sharing my screen at this point, correct? Yeah. All righty. So yes. I will just keep my video on for a second because I'm having lots of network connectivity issues today. So I will stop my video and hopefully we'll have better connection. So I'm Cisco's Business Development Manager for the Northeast and the Ohio Valley, as Kelly has mentioned. And Kelly and I have been collaborating over the years because, as you well know, the Cisco Networking Academy is an open model. And what that means is that any academy can choose the ASC and or the ITC that they would like to align to. So I'm happy to say that Kelly has been collaborating with me to support a few states in the green territories that you see on this slide. So he has been working closely with me in DC and Virginia. And as you can see, for the fiscal year to date, we've grown the territory by 1.6%. And in the District of Columbia, we've brought on 2 new academies, the Communication Workers of America. And as you can see, we have 41 new student participants. And they're offering a compendium of our IT curriculum that you see listed. And then we are still in the process of collaborating with the U.S. Institute of Diplomacy. And Kelly's been a great resource to work with Manuel. And I'm not sure if he's on this call today, but I know he's been on other calls. And he started out using the IoT curriculum, but he has plans to roll out not only our exploratory courses, but also our career ready courses. And Kelly, I see that you support, put that on here as well. Knowing that Kelly supports the state of Virginia and knowing that my colleagues have shared previous sessions, I thought I would do this with you. So as you can see in the state of Virginia, we've had a great presence in the sense that over the 20 plus years, we've supported over 63,000 students, supported over 7,000 students. And Northern Virginia is probably closer to Maryland. So we have another academy support center in Maryland known as Towson University. From Richmond North is under Towson University, and Richmond South is under Kelly, but we give people the option to choose whomever they would like to align to. And I constantly make reference
You're breaking
to
up,
the
Marie.
fact that academies should reach out to the respective A1 needs. Yeah, I know. As
Is anybody
you
else?
can see, we've
Just real quick,
provided
is everybody else
in-kind
breaking up?
contribution.
Yeah, Marie, you're breaking up
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
badly.
breaking up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really badly.
Okay. Marie, let me stop sharing your screen, Marie, and let me actually share.
Hey, I'm trying my best here.
Okay, I'm gonna unshare your screen. Okay. And Richard, if you would, will you turn your video off for us until we get to the Q&A? And then what I'm gonna do is let me go over here and do this real quick. Let me see if I can pull your presentation up, Marie. Right there. Marie,
Thank you. And I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's welcome to the world of.
I can hear you, but I don't see anything yet.
Okay, how about now? Can you see it?
Started sharing the screen.
You should be seeing Virginia, the impact report for Virginia right now.
Ah, there we go. Yes. I did.
Yeah, Marie, you're very,
Okay.
you're breaking up badly.
Folks who are, let's see. Do we have the option to call in via cell phone as opposed to doing it over
Yes, I
the
sent
internet
that.
here?
I did send that to you. Let me get the phone numbers here. Go ahead, Dylan. Let me email that to you, Marie. Sorry, folks, give us a second. One of the things we've all learned is that the United States needs better internet connectivity in order for us to be able to do things like this. So can everybody see the presentation? Let me know if you are seeing the presentation.
Yes.
Okay, so that you're good there.
Yes.
All right. Excellent. One thing I will make note of.
Switch over from.
Yeah, go ahead and switch over, Marie, to dial in and see if that'll work better.
And I'm not a Zoom user, so I don't know where I go to do that.
You should just be able to dial that number I just sent you.
You know, in Webex, it gives you the.
Right.
All right. Okay.
I will tell you that the neat thing on this picture here for the report for Virginia is that's Virginia Beach. And we used to run a cybersecurity program for Virginia Beach. In fact, we did it for years, and then just recently, obviously with COVID, we have not done it. But that is a neat place to go there. Marie, if you want, I can talk some on these. If you would like for me to.
Just pressed pound. So can.
Yeah, and put in your meeting number. I honestly have never used the dial in myself. I saw somebody was in on an iPhone, so you should be able to.
So Kelly, I think.
Yeah, I don't. Once you dial in, you should just be able to put in the meeting ID and switch over.
Oh God, it didn't switch over.
Well, and it's okay. And like I said, if I need to kind of do some things here, I can. That's not a problem. The internet is what the internet is. So.
How about if you go to the next slide?
Okay. So here are the schools we support in Virginia. You'll notice that it's a pretty good number of schools, especially some of these are new. The VA schools have been for a very long time. In fact, some of you may know John Nelson. He's part of VA Beach Schools, and he's been with them for a very long time. Actually teaches at Tidewater too, part-time. But these are the schools that we support in Virginia. This, I think one of the good things that has happened recently is we've got 3 new academies at Hampton University, and Hampton is just on the other side of the Chesapeake Bay, from, I do believe, from Virginia Beach. And these 3 different campuses are actually coming online as we speak. They're all in our HBCU grant that we've got going on at the moment. So Marie, would you still there?
Hey, Kelly, I'm trying to work on the
I
audio.
can hear you, Kelly.
Okay. All right, go ahead. I think you can try now. Let's see if we've got it. See if maybe it's a little better for you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
You can. Okay, so go to the next one. Okay, so Kelly mentioned that we have 3 new academies at Hampton University. So at the main campus, they'll be using Audible to their matriculating students. And you can see the courses that they're going to make available. If you go to the next slide, Hampton University, Workforce Innovation and Entrepreneurship grant to establish the VWIC Center, and they are operating on behalf of the Virginia Board of Workforce Development. And obviously, the mission of VWIC is to expand capability of entrepreneurs and to aid in economic recovery as a result of COVID-19. Now, the good is that it will help support resources of both 2- and 4-year institutions of higher ed, utilizing experts from both the public and private business sectors, as well as the workforce agencies. So if you go to the next slide, please.
There you go, Marie. So
I'm not seeing the next. Are headquartered in Hampton, Virginia, and they will serve all clientele from around the state that have been dismissed, displaced, or replaced due to COVID-19. And their goal is to serve a minimum of 3,000 services, networking, pitching of competitions, and even assisting with financial strategies. And they're going to remove all barriers by hopefully providing services such as childcare, transportation, certification costs, and so forth. And as you can see, they're going to do our career ready courses as well as our self-enroll courses. So
and one thing I'll mention, folks, remember career ready is anything leading to a certification. So there we go.
Kelly, are you advanced
I went back. There you go. Sorry.
the slides because they don't seem to be advancing on my end. Okay, there we go. That's okay. University online. So they are leveraging our Explore courses. And we also call them this is a prototype of what they're doing. Is just became operational a few weeks ago. So if you go to their web to implementation. Next slide, please. So with this being said, and you can go to the next slide, I would potentially to promote upskilling and digital knowledge to any of your constituents. And this is what I find is most Cisco, but it's a wonderful resource. So I wanted to give you a few more examples. Is doing online campus. So I work with the CUNY system, which is the City University of New York, and they have integrated many of our programs into associate degree programs as well as workforce development. But when COVID-19 hit, obviously they wanted to ensure student, irregardless of if they were in IT. So they took advantage of our intro to cybersecurity essentials, IoT, and even our Python course, even though it doesn't seem to be listed there for some reason. And within a very short time of 2 months, they had over 2,000. They found this to be very beneficial. So we're going to go into phase, and hopefully when the next slide comes up, there's an organization called Combase, which is a community organization of community colleges all around the Southeast. And they want needs of the challenges to the
Marie, you're in and out again. I'm sorry. Yeah, here's Combase. I have not even heard of Combase, so that's interesting. That because Dr. Zeiss obviously was past president of Central Piedmont, the largest community college in our state. So that's very interesting. Here's Marie. I've got you on the enroll courses. Self-enroll.
And here's a sample. Yep. So where we, tools, page as well as a template. So we'd really like to ask you folks to think about how you could make these same courses available to any of your constituents at no cost, a benefit to students and community members who would like to be more digital aware.
Okay. Some reminders. I've got it on the reminders.
So let's just talk about some program reminders. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's an upcoming on April.
So this is your final chance. Go ahead, Kelly. I'll let you go.
Okay, I'm saying that this is 22nd of April. It is a Girls and ICT Day, International Girls and ICT Day, to talk about using artificial intelligence to combat human trafficking. So that's coming up. Don't forget IPD Week coming up May 3rd through the 7th, which obviously is very important. Something we all should be definitely getting into. And also you can access all the past sessions by looking at IPD Week, which is very good. And this is something that just came out, and I'm very glad you included this, Marie, because in fact, now, folks, if you will go into your profile under in Netacad, so go to my profile, you now will see where you can actually request a Webex account, and it's a full Webex account with no time limits, up to 1,000 participants. If it is only available though, if you're teaching the career and the career, let me start over here, career ready courses. In other words, it's got to be one of the courses that's leading to a certification, or basically a course that is requiring instructor training. It's not going to be a course like IoT or just introduction to cybersecurity. It is an full instructor role. So that's important. But once you're able to do it, once you sign up, you can have a host, unlimited co-host, 24-hour max duration for. So if you want to do a 24-hour teach-a-thon for some reason, you could. 1,000 participants, 50 gigs of cloud storage. This, by the way, is MP4 recordings. That's one of the reasons why I actually switched to Zoom in the beginning, way back when, is because I was using Webex. But Webex required you to use a very quirky conversion to MP4 before you could upload it to YouTube. Now we'll actually record an MP4, which is very good. Recording transcripts, and also access to meetings, events, and the training center. This, I believe, came out last week, Marie, or this week? I think it was supposed to come out last week, and but I know I didn't see it on Thursday of last week, but I did see it today when I checked, and I'll show it to you in a second.
Yeah, just last week.
Just last week, yeah. So now provisioning is automatic. It used to be take a pretty good while to get it to do it, but basically you can go into your profile and you can request if you are eligible. So if you are eligible, it'll be listed right here. So in fact, I go in here and jump over to my Netacad and I go to my profile. You will see that I can request a Netacad license. So if you log in, it's right here. You've also got this fact. So if you want to read about it, you're able to read about it and see all the information about what is available for you. And I went to the wrong one. Hold on a second. There we go. So that just came available. So if you don't have a system, you can definitely use Webex now. All right. So now you'll be able to request your license. And I do strongly suggest you look over that fact. Read it, pay attention to it. But for the most part, it's a pretty simple process now to request a license. So I will be requesting that license and trying it out so that we can see it. And then you can see here, it goes through telling you request a license and can take up to, then you got 24 hours to activate it. If you do not activate your account, or there's also some other eligibility requirements I was looking at, if you don't use it in 6 months, or if you don't teach a class within 6 months, your license can actually be revoked. So just be aware, if you don't use it, it could possibly go away. So just be aware of that. All right. So there's a whole section under this CS.co Webex for Netacad, and it's got an updated fact and also an IPD session talking about the Webex for Netacad. Okay, and Kristen is saying on April 15th, you will be hosting she's going to host a 30-minute IPD session on Thursday going over this in detail. So excellent. So be aware that Kristen from Cisco on the 15th, be looking for that. Kristen, will that be an email that will go out to all Netacad?
Actually, okay, so the automation went into effect on April 15th. This Thursday, the 22nd, is going to be the special IPD session.
Okay.
And you can actually register through the IPD course.
Okay.
We have that there already.
Excellent. Okay. And that's probably, if I'm not mistaken, would probably be also under the information for that goes out to instructors inside of Netacad. So I think we see here some of the different things that are being focused on with marketing, Marie, looking at becoming more cyber smart, and then going into entry to networking. Now it's programming. So a focus on programming, which makes sense with what is going on. In fact, I had a big meeting this week with several schools about programming. Let's see, talking about Python, DevOps. I'm going to show you all something real quickly. I do want to show you something that relates to Marie's presentation, and that is when she talks about using the self-enroll classes. We do that here under our online IT Academy. We have an entire section called free classes. And so we have introduction to packet tracer, and you've got a self-enroll link. We've got introduction to cybersecurity. We've got cybersecurity essentials, Linux Unhatched, Linux Essentials, IoT entrepreneurship, and networking essentials, all as self-enroll courses. So if you have the ability to do it, set these up, make them available for people in your area so that they can get access to these free courses. And the big thing I do is I make them know that, hey, this is self-paced. It does not have an instructor with it, but it is something that is available and that you can use to get yourself interested. The other thing we're trying to decide how to do is, like, at the end of this, we want to put a FAQ out here and say, what's your next step? So you liked Intro to Cybersecurity? Well, then you probably should do the Cybersecurity Essentials. If you liked it, well, guess what? We have a Cisco 1 or a cybersecurity class you could take. So we have the option for them to move. So you can use this as a marketing tool for your academy. All right. Marie, I don't know, future initiatives. You want to talk about cybersecurity webinar and then provide access to this cybersecurity defense clinic? Or you could host a security webinar and give them access to that free self-enroll introduction to cybersecurity class. That'd be an excellent way to do it, I would believe.
So, yeah, can you hear me, Kelly?
Yep, I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so
But the second you started talking, it
what
broke
we
up.
did in the state of,
It broke up.
yeah,
Well, we'll get through this, the agenda, looking at different market opportunities, looking at the different pathways, looking at this Cisco Cyber Defense Clinic, which I really didn't know a lot about. I don't know, Marie, just real quickly, if you could, what is the Cyber Defense Clinic?
Of activities that instructors and students can go through to refine their skills in the field of cybersecurity. So if you go to the next slide, these are the various modules that people can go through, and it delineates the time frame. Could you hear that?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
definitely.
good. You heard that. All right. So
Yeah.
it's a really wonderful opportunity. So what I would like to propose is that we do this in your territory, including all of the states that you support, so that we can give students and instructors more experiential learning in the field of cybersecurity, since there's such a demand in the Northeast for these jobs.
Definitely, and I would love to go through this. Looks really neat. The different scenarios here are really neat. I have to do some more research on that. So it's called the Cyber Defense Clinic. Okay. And then virtual career fairs, which is what you did.
So Kelly, we'll set up the meet. Yep. So we held a virtual career fair, for the Northeast and Ohio Valley. And I had 6 national channel partners and 2 Cisco representatives. And there's over 1,000 early in career and also networking job opportunities. And Monica, Jesse, and I were just on a call with one of our architects who said that there's an opportunity to bring this project to North Carolina in CX, which is customer experience.
Mhm.
So we're going to give you more information on that as we finalize the details. But if you go to the next slide, what I tried to do is provide everybody with URLs for the presenters, because these are all jobs that they have that are available. So we want to encourage everybody that's on this call today to share these URLs with their respective students who are 18 and older, because not only does CDW, Red River, Presidio, Technogrid have jobs, but if you go to the next slide, Cisco has job openings, and they really want to collaborate with Networking Academy.
Excellent. And I will be sharing these slides out with everybody. So I will send these out. So you'll have all these links available for you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Kelly, for doing that for me. And I apologize that my internet is acting weird today.
No problem. I was, like I said, I had so many problems yesterday. It wasn't funny with mine. So I understand completely. I thank you for being on and for creating, and just again, for the cybersecurity for this is Cyber Defense Clinic. Well, one of the things I'm thinking about doing is, instead of trying to do four Tuesdays every month, maybe just do a single Tuesday every month. So this may be something we can try to do in May or in June to run through something and show the Cyber Defense Clinic. So thank you very much. Okay, any questions for Marie?
Yeah, we'd like to work with you. Yeah. So Kelly, can you hear me?
Yes.
We'd like to work with you as an ASC to put something like this together. So you'd have to, we'd work with you to
Okay.
organize it.
Sounds good. Any questions? Go ahead and put them in
Okay.
chat, or you can come off mute and let me know. I think it's again great to see that we're growing some in our regions. Yeah, I'll take any % growth at all if we're able to grow during the time of COVID. That tickles me to death to see growth. So that is a great thing. Any other questions for Marie? Had the wrong thing there. Okay. All right, well, what I'm going to do now, can everybody see my screen and see our current roundtable? I am actually going to start my video. I'm going to stop sharing and we'll bring it up to just the roundtable view here. So I've got my chat on the side here and everything. So what we want to do now is really give you the opportunity. We've got what, 16 or 18 of you so here, so a little smaller this time than normal. Not sure what's going on with that, but glad to have all of you here. Well, we're going to have just a Q&A roundtable. So feel free to put your question in the chat or to put in chat, say I have a question, and then I will call on you. But really, we've got Jesse here, we've got Marie here, we got Monica here. So you've got 3 CSR managers here who have the ear of the leadership at Cisco. So if you do have something that you want to ask, or you have issues, obviously I don't want this to turn into a gripe fest. We all have gripes, but if you have constructive criticism or items, then let's bring it up. Let's really do. And one of the things I'll go ahead and start us all off, and that is I am working with a STEM school that serves K-8, okay? And I know that our limit has been and still is, 13 years old to use Netacad. I believe that is our current limit. Their students would like to be able, or should and could use some of the materials in Netacad. So I'm just wondering if there's going to be any move towards maybe lowering the age limit that could use that material. That's just something to put out there, because I do know we've got schools looking for that material. And I think I'm correct in saying 13 is the minimum age to use Netacad.
Yes, here in the States. The only exception is France, in which the minimum age is 15.
Okay.
But yes, 13 is the minimum in the rest of the world.
Okay. Now, one of the things I told the instructor is, I said, there's no reason that you can't download the labs and have the students do the labs in the class. And then they're just not they don't log into Netacad, they don't have a Netacad account. And so that way you don't have that 13-year-old age limit causing a problem. So that was my question. So anybody else want to start us off? Have another question?
By the way, Kelly, can I jump in just for a
Yeah.
sec? And there's a resource that we almost never mention that is attached to Cisco, not itself Cisco Networking Academy, but it's Cisco's resource for 12 and unders, and which is the Global Problem Solvers, the series.
Okay.
GPS series. I'm gonna put in the chat the link to it. This resource is in 4 languages, if I'm not wrong. It's in English, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. And it's a great resource to when you want to get introduced into the world of the ICTs in a very fun but particularly interesting way. I have done this with middle schoolers last summer, and definitely it is. It's a fantastic tool. The best of it, if you go at the top right, if I'm not wrong, in those 3, that button. So you will see for teachers down there. So over there, it's plenty of resources for teachers, which is, if you scroll down, if I'm not wrong, there you are. Okay. So you have here the teacher's guide and every single one of the episodes. So there's the script, the storyboard. So I would suggest the instructors to have a look at it. And if they have any counterparts who are taking care of middle schoolers, right? Or the 9th grade, the 8th graders. So they could take all this material and start using it, okay? Before just jumping into intro to IoT or intro to cybersecurity. This is a great resource for teachers, and students are having a lot of fun. Again, I've done it as in a summer camp. It's a great resource.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that.
You're yelling when I'm on a call.
Do what?
No.
Who was that?
He's an idiot.
Somebody must have.
He has to explain it to you.
Hello?
That's Marie.
Yeah. Marie? Okay. Yeah, this is excellent. That will be, I will share this with that school. Like I said, it's a specialized STEM school. And this would be, in fact, I love the down here, this build a machine to lift water, because we are an agricultural county. And one of our big things is agribusiness. And so that would be right up their alley in terms of what they're trying to do. So excellent. Okay, thank you very much. So globalgpstheseries.com.
Exactly.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very good. Any other questions? Anyone else have any questions that you want to, like I said, this is your time now. It's open. So no questions at all. We're gonna have a short meeting today if y'all don't have any questions. All right. Well, I'll get it going once, going twice. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let me save this so I know this global problem solving. So I've got it. So no more questions. Any questions? Oh, your data by PC. Yeah, that's funny. It really is. I will say that I do greatly miss being in person with everyone. You know, we usually buy food for the entire group. We sit down, we spend time together, and I very much miss seeing everybody, and truly hope that it won't be long before we're all back together again. All right. Well, let me then. Any questions? Anybody need to know how to make a self-enroll class? Anybody not sure how to do that? Because I can run through the process very quickly. Like, let me
Or
do
I
it.
can send you, I will send you, Kelly, I have a recording, 6 minutes recording, just explaining how to do it.
Okay.
So if you want, you can do it right now, but just in case, I know that this session is being recorded, but just in case anyone needs it, just that piece, I will send you that recording as well.
Okay. And really what you do is you just create your class as normal. And then under the course details, when you go to add students, you go into create self-enroll page. And then this is where you can put your own image in. So you can put your school logo, you can put your own, you can choose, put your description in. And then when you actually do this and you save it, so if you go in here and do it, you actually can have it and it will just be a URL that you can share and anybody can get into it. So what I did on mine is I just went in and pulled the course overviews directly from under course resources, which by the way, hopefully everybody knows that you go to course resources and any of these that you want to share, like Intro to IoT, you can just go under the course overview and you can pull that information out. Or you can even dig down deeper and go to sequence and do that. But once you do that, you just pull it out, create it, put it on your web page, and it's available for anybody to enroll and use. This is one of the ways we have been able to grow, is that we've been able to get folks to use these. And then quite honestly, they come in and they'll take, see my IT Academy back here, they'll take my my online continuing education courses. So that's something that we found to be a very good marketing tool for us. All right. Any questions about those self-enrolled courses? Oh, I got a chat here. Let me see what we got. Okay, thank you. I'll send those out, Marie, when I send out the slides for this. All right. Well, what I'm going to do then, folks, is I'm going to move on to I'm going to turn off my video and I'm going to move on to CML. Now, let's talk about Cisco modeling labs. And I'm going to preface this whole presentation with the fact that Cisco modeling labs is a tool that we're going to discuss. It was once called Viral. Of course, that's not good marketing anymore, considering a global pandemic that has caused all the troubles that it has. So they are not calling it Viral. They call it Cisco Modeling Labs. There's actually 3 versions now. In fact, as I was preparing for this presentation, I learned of the new Personal Plus, which is a new version. And what is it? Well, it is a tool that allows you to use real Cisco iOS, and it's a virtualized iOS that you can use to do labs or to do any type of study. In fact, what I want to do as part of our presentation here is I do want to show you under my NetLabs, my reservation ended, which I didn't want it to, but that's okay. I'm going to do a new reservation here. We have a special project going on that we have been working on, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you this pod will probably never see the light of day. So this is a beta pod, and it's something that it's not available on other net labs. It's honestly just something that was a pie in the sky type thing we were trying to use, but it does allow us to show you CML. And CML itself is a tool that allows you to boot up and use the iOSs in a legal fashion. Many of you have heard of GNS3, you've heard of NVNG or EVE-NG, where basically you can take iOS images and boot them in a virtual environment. Well, the legality of that is not just suspect, it's not legal. Unless you own every single image that you do, and even then, you have not been granted the license to use that image in that type of fashion. So this, however, is a legal version of the virtualized iOS. The personal edition is single user only. It allows 20 concurrent simulated nodes and cannot expand. And by that, I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. Community support only, so there's no support from TAC, but you can create what if and real world networks. You can connect virtual and physical environments. In fact, there's a way to connect it from your virtualized machines out to the physical world. You can add nodes and change in a running network simulation. And it's $199 per year, or two Cisco learning credits. It runs on VMware Workstation, and it's very simple to set up. The old version of Viral was nothing about it was simple. Even the personal edition of Viral, nothing about it was simple. This is dead simple to set up and easy to use. So what does it allow me to do or you to do? Well, I'll give you an example here. So I'm going to log in, and so I've got a PC. Now this is actually, we're using the enterprise version, but I can log in with my, oops, if I spell admin correct, with my password here. And what I did is I actually, I actually have created a lab that I can download, and I'm going to go out here and download it, but I'm just going to first start a lab here. So I create a lab, and I can go over here and you can see there's all these different iOS images. So there's a iOS V, there's even an ASA, a virtualized ASA. There's a layer 2 switch, there's NXOS, there's these desktop and Ubuntu's, an unmanaged switch. But when I say it can have 20 nodes, I can pull out 20 different nodes and create a network. So the very first lab in our CCNA, Introduction to Networks, is a lab that looks just like this. Now I can connect, drag over here, do ETH0 to ETH00. I'm going to do gig. So we're going to do gig 01 to gig 01. And then I'm going to drag up here and do ETH0 to 00. And now I've got my network built. I can go back out to Lab Manager and click boot. And at this point, these devices are starting to boot. And I am booting a real iOS image, not a simulation, which means it's got all the quirks of a real iOS image, all the problems of a real iOS image. But the good thing is it allows me, I can actually build multiple ones. In fact, here's how we've been using this as part of our project. We've been using it as a beta to try to offer CCNP because, by the way, you hopefully have noticed you've got to use your email now to log in to Netacad. But this particular pod has the ability to get out to Netacad. And so for my class that I've been teaching CCNP with, I have been developing YAML files. Oops, no wonder it didn't work. I've been developing YAML files for each one of the labs. So if I go in here and look at, let's go down here, my Encore class, and let's say I want to do lab, there's a lab here on the very first one here. Let's see, let's just do this one. I'm not even sure of either channel. Let's download this one. So I'm gonna click here. I download this YAML file, save it, click OK. And then now I can go over here and I can import the lab. And so I've imported this YAML file in my downloads. Double click, upload the topology, go to Lab Manager. You'll notice here I've got this lab built, and I can just boot it, and I can do the lab for Lab 513 in CCNP. If I click here, by the way, it will also show me my connection. So you can see there's 4 different connections. So I can do a PageP or LikeP Ether channel there. Here, there's 2 different connections. They'll let me do LikeP or PageP. And these devices, as they're booting, you can see it is just a regular switch that is booting. Boots up. And the amazing thing is, even on a fairly low-end laptop, you can boot a good number of devices. You just have to realize that if you build, a 20-node network and you boot 20 nodes, it could run your laptop out of memory. But we have here a full working iOS image. And it eventually will finish up here when I get things done as it's booting. I'm going to jump back over to my other lab because it will already be booted. So I'm able to go in here and open console, hit this, and you'll see that I'm sitting at an iOS V. Okay. Now it says Advanced Enterprise K9 and it is version 12, but for 99% of what we do in the curriculum, you can do it right here. So config T, line con 0, login synchronous, password, so on and so forth. Okay, so it's pretty easy to see that this is a quick way to do the first lab. Now, here's what I want you to consider, and this is where I really see this as being useful. $199, your students are able to really create any lab environment they want. Down the road, I would love to see us be able to continue to do this to where I could build out hundreds of pods that people could use. Again, that's way down the road, and I don't know if it'll ever happen, but this type of Kirby made a good question. Does the NetLab pod have session logs and file configs with this, like using hardware? No, it does not. You would have to make use of the screenshot functionality. So you would have to have your students do screenshots, or the cool thing is once they configure the device, okay, so let's do password Cisco, login, host name, S1. The student can actually go in here and go edit config, and you can actually update the config from device, and then they can export, download the lab to a YAML file and send the YAML file to you, and then you can check that YAML file. So the students can actually save it and then send it to you. So no, it does not have the features that we really like, which is the ability to see into each device. But it does have things that we don't have in NetLabs, like the ability to do this and say, okay, guess what? I like this. That was a cool lab, but let's experiment with the idea of putting, let's put a router out here. So an iOS V, and let's put an ASA here and simulate the fact that we got a real network. And so we're going to go here and we'll go, have to go up a little bit, but we'll do gig 0 to gig 0. And then so on and so forth. Then we can build out a real network and then boot up these items. So I can boot up this here. Let's go there. Gig 00 to gig 01. I need to add interfaces. Let me do this. I'll add interfaces on the ASA. So interfaces, add full interface. I can't do it right now because it's still booting, or it has booted. But we have the ability to use ASAs and devices that we don't normally easily have access to. So it is a cool tool. It's something that, again, personal mode, $199. Your students can have access to it and use it. Now there's a personal plus, which is exactly the same as personal, but it has you, gives you the ability to do 40 concurrent simulated nodes. So a bigger network, but still, now you're looking at $349 or 4 Cisco learning credits, which is getting a little bit more expensive. but it runs on VMware Workstation, just like the personal edition. Last but not least, next to last but not least is Enterprise Edition, which is multi-user, 20 to 300 concurrent nodes, tax support, add nodes, contact for a quote. You know what that means. It is extremely expensive, but it does run on VMware ESXi server, and it has the ability to really expand exponentially. So, and as part of that, they've come up with a version for higher education, which is basically a modified enterprise version. The quote that I was told is very expensive. It's like $11K for a base node, and then another $300 per each concurrent each connection, but it is concurrent user instead of per node. So, you know, if I could actually get this higher education version and have 11K for a base and then have 10 nodes, that could be the equivalent of using 10 pods of real gear. We'll do the math on it. You know, that's north of 50 grand in gear. So it has some possibilities, and it's something, especially though, even if you're not looking at the higher education version, it's something that I think you should look at for your students because of the personal version. So it supports all these images. In fact, there's also a packet generator called Trex that's in there. I haven't been able to play with it, you know, as much. It actually does have a WAN emulator, so you can do jitter and delay. There are images for, and I didn't show you this, but inside of here, these are actually Linux boxes. So you can either access a Linux command line, or you can even access a VNC connection. And by the way, most of the time the password is Cisco on anything in here, but it will let you go into a little Alpine box. There's an Ubuntu box that you can pull in there if you want to use a different node. So all of those are available. Let me find my other Ubuntu node here. Here it is. Pull it out there and I'll connect it and boot it up. So you can also import your own images. I have not done that, but you can do it. You know, so technically, if you support QCal and you can get it built, you could probably bring in a Windows 10 box in here. Just realize that's going to add a pretty good amount of overhead because of the fact you'd then be running a virtualized machine inside of the virtualized environment already. So you can see this Ubuntu box booting up here. Anyone currently using this? The CML, not this inside NetLabs. Is anybody actually own? I own a personal copy of CML myself, and I've used it to study for different certification exams. So yes, I have used it myself. Anybody else used it? Nobody? Okay. So no one else has used it. Well, I will say, if you are interested, you can go to Cisco Modeling Labs. You can go out here and there's an entire section. You can watch the video on it. You can then go and purchase, you know, your personal or personal plus. I don't really know, quite honestly, for what we do, why would you need 40 nodes versus 20? I mean, you can do a 10 router OSPF network and do about anything you want to do with that. So just be aware that it's 4 versions now exist, and you can purchase it directly. And then once you do, it's added to it's just another, I call it another quiver another arrow in my quiver, basically. So we got the ability to do you know, tiny core Linux servers, full featured Ubuntu server using CloudNet YAML, which is, you know, I know very little about that. How much is personal? Personal edition is $199. So personal is an individual user, yes. And you load it locally on VMware Workstation. So, and like I said, that pod you just saw may never see light of day. It is actually going to quit working this summer. But I still see it as a future. I see it as something that we need to, yeah, it's $199 for 1 year only, correct, Neil? But I see it as a possible thing for the future. Consider if we can get away with not using books anymore. you know, and yeah, it's expensive for students, but is it that expensive when you consider books? You know, you think about a book's $50, $60, $100 a piece. If we can find a way, since they're not using books in the curriculum already, then this is something we might could look at them using for.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing you also want to take into consideration is if you are a VMware IT Academy,
Yep.
students can get the VMware workstation license, so that'll save them money on that side too. I just want to point that out.
Correct. Very good point. So the VMware workstation will be free. And so, okay, I'm going to show my ignorance. OER. Lots of push for OER.
Open resources, Kelly.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
basically like what we're doing with the Netacad, like with the Academy itself, the content is given to the students for free. So we're taking a class that right now isn't costing the students anything, go taking them to being $100, $200 a year. So I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but for our, I know in particular for our students, there's really a push against adding any cost that we can't absolutely avoid. So
Gotcha. Well, that's understandable. I definitely can understand that. I will say that if you are a student in our ITC or have been a student in the past year, contact me, because we have a resource that we have recently added that you may want to look at using, especially for yourself, and it may be something you even want to look at for your school. And that is, we have recently, actually it's been about a year now, we've been using this platform, which is O'Reilly. If you're familiar with O'Reilly, we've been using this, and the resources that are available are pretty amazing. So just like for CCNA, we've got, these are the books available that students can get access to, including the entire video series by Kevin Wallace. So those are the types of things we're looking at too. So we're trying our best to again, limit cost. I will say though, a lot of us don't offer the higher end classes like CCNP anymore, because we don't, you know, be quite honest, NetLabs hasn't pushed that pod in a while. And many of us, especially with now the conversion of the curriculum to 2 routers, 2 switches versus the 3 routers, 3 switches, the CCNP pod and the CCNA pods don't even overlap. So this is a way to maybe get into some higher end classes and content that we wouldn't be able to get into otherwise. So, but again, it's not for everybody. It's just another tool that's available and possible for you to use if you're interested. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions on CML? Okay. Has anybody thought of any questions they would like to ask in the time that I was doing the CML description, or any questions you would like to bring up to Cisco leadership, and or any problems or items, anything dealing with the Academy that you've got that you would like to bring forward at this point? Again, I'll stop my share so we can, you all turn our cameras back on and see one another. Nobody has any questions? You know all, see all, hear all. Yeah, life is perfect. Well, you know, it's been Mike, it's been a lot worse. I can say that. It has definitely been a lot worse. So no matter what people think, it's always somebody's got it worse than you do. Well, folks, I don't have anything else today. I really don't. Yeah, it is definitely very pretty weather. I don't have anything else today. I appreciate all of you being here today. It's going to be a short meeting since we it seems like our Q&A roundtable, nobody had any questions. I do want to thank everybody from Cisco who's been part of these meetings over the past 3 weeks. Jesse, Monica, and Marie, thank you very much. And Kristen and Echo is not here, but thank them so much for being part of our meetings. And obviously I'm gonna send the invite out to everybody again. So please feel free to come next week. Oh, Rick's showing us the new if you see Rick's picture, that's the new, what, 800 piece, 1200 piece, maybe even 2000 piece space shuttle Lego that everybody's raving about. It's really an awesome Lego. But I do appreciate everybody. And next week, we will be having our final April is ASC month meeting. We're going to have updates from the VMware Academy, the Red Hat Academy, and the Palo Alto Academy. So even if you're not a member of those programs, please feel free to join, because you may either want to become part of it, or realize too that when you pay your $600 per month, I wish it was a month. No, I'm just kidding. $600 per year support fee. We support all the academies that you have. So if you are VMware Academy, Red Hat or Palo Alto will help you with those too if we can. So just be aware we're a one-stop shop as much as we can be for it. The other thing I will mention is we are summer classes, June 2nd, August 11th. There are no grant slots left. I'm sorry, but all 80-something slots are full. There are not many slots left in DevNet or CyberOps Associate for the summer. So it is, those classes will begin on June 2nd. I will be sending out all of you who are on the list to get a grant slot. Next week, I will be sending out an email telling you how to register, where to go register, and what you need to do to get that slot. Again, it will be no cost to you, but you do have to go fill out some paperwork so we can track it and make sure we get you registered for the class. And that is as a result of our NSF grant. Again, thank NSF for that one, because it's been a pretty amazing thing. Last but not least, don't forget that Webex is now free. So look under your profile in Netacad. Go to my profile and you can request a free Webex account. Any questions before we sign off for the day? I'm gonna give you back almost an hour today. Sorry.
Kelly, I'm just
Go ahead.
just because I'm curious.
Go ahead.
You mentioned the O'Reilly resources.
Yep.
How are you using those?
There are additional resources for students to use to study. That's what we use them
Okay.
for. Yeah. So we use them as an additional resource for them to study. So you can purchase that database for your entire campus. And it's not cheap, but it's not as expensive as what you might would think. So you may
So
want
it's
to
an
look
access, it's a campus access. Then.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So and then your students can use it for additional resources, and that's what we use it for, just to give them, a lot of times students want additional materials to study for the exams. That's what we've got it for. So, all right. Any other questions? By the way, if you've had a class with us in the last year, you have access to that O'Reilly, so you can go study for yourself. So be aware, if you do have a Stanley email address, you can get into it. So, Richard, you have a question? I like that background. That's neat.
No, I was just playing with that. That was the background we all used probably 10 or 12 years ago, I think.
That's neat.
I still use that on my classroom computers. So,
That is cool. That is cool.
I was just messing around. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, it's kind of scary when you actually go look in your profile and go, good gosh, that 20-year little thing says 20 years in the academy. You're like, holy moly, I'm getting old. Yeah. So, all right, everybody. Well, have a good afternoon. Be safe, and please stay well. We'll see you next week. Again, same bat time, same bat channel, and we shall see you then. So have a good evening. Let me actually stop my